Thank you for taking time to watch this quick video about elementary bullying prohibition staff training. In the spring of 2014, the Safe and Supportive Minnesota Schools Act was signed into law by Governor Dayton. Essentially, it outlines what schools are required to do to protect students. One important note is that bullying complaints must be investigated in a timely manner. This is defined as 5 days within the day of being reported. It also discusses retaliation against victims or bystanders. Another key component of this law that you need to be aware of is that every school needs to designate a staff person who is responsible for reports of bullying. In District 833, that person is the building principal or assistant principal. You also need to be aware as a district employee, if you witness bullying, you are required to make reasonable efforts to address and resolve the behavior. The words bully and bullying are used often to describe behaviors that actually do not constitute bullying. It is important to note that only administration can make a determination of bullying. As such, staff members should not use the word bully or bullying to describe any situations. Instead, please make a report. Staff have an obligation to report, and administration make the determination as to whether or not bullying is actually occurring. Conflict occurs when there is an agreement or a disagreement or an argument between two or more people. In conflict, there is an equal balance of power. Oftentimes, when we investigate reports of bullying, we uncover more details that disclose really what's happening between students is a conflict. Sometimes there is an aggressive behavior that happens one time that's not okay, but still does not necessarily rise to the measure of bullying. That again is a conflict, or sometimes we refer to that as a mean moment. Conflict is a natural human experience, although it does cause stress and hurt, and it's important to remember that conflict exists on a continuum. So what is bullying? Bullying is intimidating, threatening, abusive, or harmful conduct that is objectively offensive. It also includes an imbalance of power between the student engaging in the prohibited conduct and the target of the prohibited conduct. And that conduct is repeated. It's forming a pattern. A more succinct way of defining bullying: it is aggressive, it is repeated, it is intentional, and it involves an imbalance of power or strength. Key warning signs that a student may be experiencing bullying could include loss of interest in school, decreased in academic performance, social withdrawal, anxious behavior, psychosomatic complaints, unexplained injuries or ripped clothes, or appearing sad or teary-eyed, depressed, or tired. There are many different things that could constitute bullying. It could include spreading rumors, defamation of character, teasing, name-calling, degrading comments, obscene or threatening gestures, physical harm, threats of harm, verbal taunting, destroying or damaging property of the other person, or cyberbullying. Again, we are looking for aggressive, repeated, intentional, and an imbalance of power. What constitutes school property? It is important to note that behavior that could be determined as bullying doesn't have to happen just in our school building. It could happen on the bus, at the bus stop, walking to and from school, or any school-related function. Some bullying hotspots include the playground, cafeteria, walking in line, phys ed, hallways, bathrooms, the bus stop, really any place where there is a little bit less structure or supervision looks different than it might in your typical classroom. Students may often report that they feel like they are being bullied. In those moments, it is very important that we follow this procedure. First of all, affirm the student. Thank them for telling you. Even if you're skeptical that there might not be bullying going on, we want our students to feel safe to reach out to the helpers, the grown-ups at our school, to ask for help. After you affirm the student for telling you, ask them, what does that look like? Try to get some specific behaviors. If a student says he's bullying you, what does that look like? Remember to stay neutral in your responses. Assess what you know about the situation. You may be very aware of what is happening, and you may also be very aware that this might not be bullying, but be sure to give the student full attention, ask questions, and then based on that, you'll need to determine your next action steps, which is step 4, acting. Before we move on, it is important to note that you're not doing an investigation in this phase. You're just trying to get a little bit more information. Students use the word bully and bullied a lot, and so you're doing your part to help and determine whether or not we need to escalate this to a full bully investigation. So next steps, the acting. It really is situation dependent. If you are fairly confident that this is a conflict, talk to the students independently, consider using a fix-it plan or using the tab room, and contact parents. If you are concerned that bullying may be occurring, do not bring the students together. Instead, notify administration through completing a bully report form or connecting with us, and we will follow up with the full and more thorough investigation. When you complete a bully report form, it is important to note just the facts. Note observable behaviors, include dates, times, places, and potential bystanders as best you can. Now, in the event that a parent emails you that their child is being bullied, again, thank the parent for reaching out and affirm to them that you will follow up. Work with the students or involve Chris, Jennifer, or Danette immediately. Never verify the behavior as bullying because, as stated earlier, that requires an investigation and that determination can only be made by administration. When you respond to the parent, be sure to include Chris and Jennifer on that response. Remember that all emails are public data and are subject to public data requests. As such, be very thoughtful and cautious with what information you include. Lastly, harassment. Harassment is specific teasing about a protected class that could include race, ethnicity, student color, creed, religion, national origin, immigration status, physical appearance, sexuality, sexual orientation, gender identity and expression, disability, age, and status with regard to public assistance. Note that it only has to occur once to be considered harassment, and it is intentional harm. And once again, any reports of harassment should be immediately reported to administration. This concludes our bully and harassment training for staff. Thank you for watching this video in its entirety. Please be sure to go to the link and fill out the forms verifying that you have watched this training. Of course, if you have any questions or need further clarification, do not hesitate to reach out to Jennifer for questions. Thank you.